Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido, and today we're coming from Mahogany City where the Explorers are trying to take down their biggest hurdle that has always been the Lavaridge Flare, whereas the Fire types who have never lost to the Ice types, they want to get themselves back into an Elite Four position because once again they are trying to contend for a top spot here in the PokeType League VGC, whereas the Ice types are trying desperately to keep themselves away from that wooden crown position. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the Ice types? Will it be the Fire types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And starting off this matchup, it is going to be that Terrestrial Draftee Dash Bun with that well-baked body alongside Talonflame as they look to take full speed control in this contest, going up against Frostmoth, who needs to be careful of that extreme weakness to the Lavaridge Flare alongside Arctobax, but Talonflame is going for the Horn Drill to start off this match, but that is going to be avoided by Frostmoth as Dash Bun does look to follow it up by going with the Sweet Kiss. This is going to leave the Bug Ice type in a confused state. It will need to keep its head in the game or it will risk doing damage to itself here on the field as it does try to shake off this confusion. It is successful there and it is going to go for the Simple Beam, getting rid of that risky flame body that Talonflame does hold, giving it the simple ability. Instead, as Arctobax looking to follow it up here, it is going to go with the Soak, but unfortunately that is going to fail. No one is going to become a water type here on the field as the Pain Split from Talonflame is actually going to favor Frostmoth here. A little bit of damage onto Talonflame. Dash Bun with the Minimize, it is going to greatly boost its evasiveness, making it a much harder target for the Explorers, and we've seen how good the Flare can be when they can avoid being hit. But Frostmoth has already shaken off that confusion, going for the rollout, but that is actually going to be avoided by Dash Bun as Arctobax sets up the Toxic Spikes here nice and early in this contest, laying that entry hazard out on the side of the Lavaridge Flare. Talonflame is going for the Shadow Ball though. They are continuing to focus on Frostmoth. Gets in some chip damage here, not actually doing that much, but Dash Bun following it up with the Cross Poison, getting in some great damage this time on the Frostmoth, who does respond with the Spore. This is going to put Dash Bun to sleep on the field. It is snoozing away. This will leave Talonflame to have to do the heavy lifting, but Arctobax first is going for the Head Smash, but that is still avoided by that sleeping Pokemon rolling out of the way. Talonflame though with the Focus Blast onto Arctobax, and it almost gets the elimination. Arctobax hangs on by a thread from that super effective move as Dash Bun is still sleeping on the field. Frostmoth is going to go for the block onto the Terrestrial Draftee, making it so it can no longer escape, but it is not looking to go anywhere as Arctobax with the Parting Shot is going to go back to the bench, but not before it lowers those offensive stats, both physical and special attack of Dash Bun. Arctobax going back to the bench, and out in its place it is going to be Frostlass as Talonflame with the lunge going back to Frostmoth. It is going to put it into knockout range, lowering its attack in the process, but Frostlass is going with the Draco Meteor, getting some great damage onto Talonflame, lowering its own special attack in the process here. And Dash Bun, who is still fast asleep on the field, it is going to be the Metal Claw from Frostmoth, not doing that much damage there to that well-baked body, but it boosts its own physical attack in the process. Talonflame with the Spark gets that easy elimination though of Frostmoth, putting the Lavaridge Flare in the lead here early on in the game. We get the Glare from Frostlass that is going to fail. It must have targeted that sleeping Dash Bun, who is still snoozing away. As we know, it is Arctobax returning for the Mahogany Explorers. Still such an easy target. Talonflame could capitalize. Instead, it goes with the Slack Off. Instead of getting the easy elimination, it is going to almost get itself back to full strength as Frostlass with the Lock On. It is going to take aim here at Dash Bun. We'll see if it can capitalize in the coming turn, but Dash Bun has awoken and it is going to go with the Thrash, thrashing about on the field to take Arctobax out of this match. That is now 2 down for the Mahogany Explorers as they are going to send out a Bomber Snow as Talonflame trying to meet it here with the Torch Song, but that soundproof Bomber Snow is immune. This allows Frostlass to go with the Strength, getting in some good chip damage onto Talonflame, but still continuing to thrash about that critical play onto a Bomber Snow from a now confused Dash Bun due to the fatigue of thrashing about. A Bomber Snow trying to capitalize with its response instead goes for the Acupressure. It is going to boost its speed a great deal, and it actually outspeeds the Fire types, going for the Peck, but that is going to be avoided once again by that evasive boosted Dash Bun. This allows Talonflame to go with the Flail, putting Abomasnow into knockout range, but it is going to chow down on its Staff Barrier. This is going to boost its physical attack a great deal. And we do get the Ice Punch here from Frostlass, capitalizing on that part flying type of Talonflame. Dashbun needs to shake off its confusion, and it is successful in doing so. Going with the Slack off itself, it is going to restore its own health here, but it is not taking that much damage as Abomasnow is going for the Razor Leaf, connecting with both fire types, not very effective, and Talonflame is able to hang on here as it is going to go with the Synthesis, very intelligently restoring its health once again as it was in knockout range. It was a very easy target for the Mahogany Explorers, but Frostlass is going for the False Swipe, but that is not a shiny Dashbun, who is still in a confused state, probably wondering why it's been hit with the False Swipe, but it shakes off the confusion, going for the Low Sweep, but it is going to phase straight through Frostlass. This allows Abomasnow to try and capitalize by going with the Shadow Sneak, but again, Dashbun is able to avoid another move, allowing Talonflame to go with the Hyper Beam. But again, those normal type moves are not going to work on Frostlass, allowing it to capitalize by going with the Flash Cannon, but it does not do that much damage there. Not very effective to Talonflame. Dashbun has finally snapped out of its confusion, trying for the Steel Roller, but unfortunately this does fail. This allows Abomasnow to try and capitalize with the Night Slash onto Talonflame, and they take Talonflame out of this matchup even after it had restored its health. Frostlass with the follow-up Mega Kick onto Dashbun, but again it avoids another move. This allows Dashbun to go with the Leer. It is going to lower that physical defense of both Abomasnow, who is still such an easy target, and that full strength Frostlass. And speaking of Pokemon who are great at their evasive tactics, it is going to be Ninetales entering this matchup, landing in those Poison Spikes as the high horsepower from that very quick Abomasnow is going to be avoided once again by Dashbun. Frostlass with the Stuffed Cheeks here, it is going to boost its physical defense a great deal, and it is Ninetales responding though with the Gravity. That Gravity is going to intensify, and we'll see if anyone goes for a Hypnosis as no one is levitating in this match. The Shadow Force is being set up by Dashbun. It is going to vanish instantly. The Explorers need to target that Ninetales, who is starting to feel the effects of that poisoning. It is Abomasnow here going for the Pluck, but it does go for Dashbun, who is still vanished from the field. Frostlass trying to do its part, goes with the Triple Axle. This is not going to be very effective though onto Ninetales, getting stronger with every connection of that Triple Axle though, connecting for all 3 hits, but Ninetales is going to respond by going with the Heart Swap, focusing onto that extremely speedy Abomasnow, switching their stat changes now though, and the Shadow Force is going to be finished off by Dashbun. Super effective there onto Frostlass, and there is that poisoning continuing to affect Ninetales as it has looked to take speed control. It is also going to chow down on its Citrus Berry. Thanks to that poisoning doing that passive damage, it is going to restore its health, and it is now in speed control, going with the Vacuum Wave onto Abomasnow to get that super effective elimination, the 3rd one down for the Mahogany Explorers. And it is the Aerial Ace there by Frostlass, very intelligently this time onto Dashbun, who does respond with the Attack Order, doing practically nothing with that not very effective move onto the Park Ghost type, and there is that poisoning continuing to afflict Ninetales here. And the Explorers sending out Dugong, the part Water type. They need to capitalize on that as another Leer, this time from Ninetales, lowering those physical defenses of both Frostlass and Dugong. But Frostlass is going to respond by trying for the burn up, but it is against the fire types. It is not a part fire type, so that is going to fail. This allows Dashbun to go with the Shadow Sneak, but it goes for Dugong, not doing that much damage. This allows Dugong to respond with the Bone Rush, this multi-hit move onto the evasive booster Dashbun here. It has got 2, it's going to need at least 4, it gets 3, it needs 1 more, and it will get the 4th connection to take Dashbun out of this matchup, and they desperately needed Dashbun off the field with the amount of moves it was able to evade here in this contest. And after those 4 connections, there's still 4 Pokemon remaining for the Lavaridge Flare. There's 3 Pokemon remaining for the Mahogany Explorers, who are looking to get their first win over the Flare. And it is now going to be Torkoal entering this matchup, landing in those Toxic Spikes. But with that Drought ability, the Sunlight is going to turn harsh here in Mahogany City. Ninetales with the the Gigaton Hammer, bringing the hammer down to eliminate Frostlass from this matchup. And suddenly the Explorers have only got 2 Pokemon remaining. Dugong trying for the Aqua Tail though, super effective onto Torkoal, but that harsh sunlight is not helping. But Torkoal with the Enigma Berry is also going to offset some of that damage, almost getting itself back to full strength, and it is going to respond by going with the Roar of Time onto Dugong here, getting some great damage onto the Water Ice type, who is going to chow down on its own Citrus Berry to offset some of that Roar of Time damage, as the Explorers are shortly about to send out their final Pokemon. Both Torkoal and Ninetales have to contend with that poisoning. They know that they only have so much time before that poisoning will take its toll, so they need to end this matchup quick. As the gravity has returned to normal, the Explorers sending out their own Terrestrial Draftee. It is Sourcebuck as the final Pokemon for the Mahogany Explorers in this matchup, and it needs to pull off something big because it has been struggling in the last few rounds for the Mahogany Explorers, and now is not the time to do it, as they are in 18th place, 1 spot above that Wooden Crown position. Ninetales tries for the Aurora Veil, but it is not snowing here in Mahogany City. This allows Sourcebuck to go with the Energy Ball. This will be resisted by Ninetales, but it still puts it into knockout range. Dugong looking to follow it up, does go with the knockoff onto Torkoal here, getting some chip damage as Torkoal has to recharge, and the poisoning from the Toxic Spikes onto Ninetales is finally going to take it out of this match. The Explorers trying to work their way back into this. There's only 3 Pokemon remaining for the Lavaridge Flare. Torkoal also feeling the effects of that poisoning from those Toxic Spikes that Magcargo is also going to land in as it enters this matchup. And Sourcebuck now with that Speed Control tries for the Axe Kick, but Magcargo is able to get out of the way of that move, and Sourcebuck keeps going and it crashes. It does take that recoil damage to the Air Slash though onto Torkoal from Dugong. Some great damage there, but Magcargo responds with the Strength. Great damage of its own onto Dugong, but Torkoal has flinched. That could be massive. The Explorers need to capitalize on this as Magcargo begins to feel the effects of that poisoning. Torkoal being put into knockout range. It is an easy target for the Explorers. Sourcebuck setting up the Misty Terrain, and this mist is about to swirl around the battlefield as the Explorers are trying to bring this down to a 2 versus 2 contest. Dugong with the Wild Charge going for Magcargo, not actually doing that much damage, taking some recoil damage of its own. This allows Magcargo to respond by going with a Triple Axle of its own. This will be resisted by Dugong as it still takes all 3 hits from that not very effective move, and we get our first time warning in this contest. We could be going into another overtime. The holdback from the Torkoal onto Sourcebuck, and as glimmering as it is, that is not a shiny Sourcebuck. That poison is still coming into play, but Torkoal is still hanging on by a thread. This allows Sourcebuck to go with the Psycho Cut to finish the job. Torkoal has been eliminated from this match. We're down to a 2 versus 2 contest. The fling from Dugong is going to fail. This opens the door for Magcargo to try and capitalize by going with the Rain Dance. It's going to begin to rain now in Mahogany City. That drought is over indeed. And it is now a 2 versus 2 contest. We get another time warning. Scovillain has entered this contest. Sourcebuck with the Fickle Beam, getting some minimal damage onto Magcargo there. Dugong follows it up with the Sword Stance. It is going to greatly boost its physical attack. And if we go into overtime, all remaining Pokemon will be restored back to full strength, and it will become a singles battle. But this Icicle Spear from Scovillain, this multi-hit move, they need all 5 onto Dugong here. It's got 3, and that still may not be enough. It's got 4. It needs 1 more. Gets all 5, and Dugong is still hanging on after that not very effective move. Was able to connect all 5 times. However, Magcargo with the follow-up going with the Sparkling Arrow. This will do some massive damage to its own teammate, but it completes the huge play to take not just Dugong out of this matchup, it takes the Terrestrial Draftee, Sourcebuck out of this contest, and once again the Lavaridge Flare have taken down the Mahogany Explorers, defeating them all 3 times these sides have met. But not just that, with this win the Lavaridge Flare have jumped up into 3rd place, and next round they are going up against the reigning champions, the Medalliators, whereas for the Explorers they do stay in 18th place, but next round they are going up against the Hammerlock Draconids. But until then, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.